Today I'm going to be sharing my own Sistaco application method. The reason for this is that quite a while ago I asked somebody to buy me a Sistaco kit for my birthday. Then when I watched the reviews on YouTube, they were kind of diabolical. So I says to that person, don't bother buying it for me, I'll buy it for myself and I'll give it an honest review. Now I'm willing to give everything a chance, but if it's crap, it's crap. When I bought it, originally I did struggle to get it to stay on or to get it to not be a mess all over my hands, but I came up with my own application method. If you would like to see my original review, I'll link it in the description box below. But spoiler alert, I ended up absolutely loving it. In the Sistaco pack, you get instructions that tell you a long wear method and a short wear method. Now the problem that I was personally having with this is that you can put on the base coat, cure it, put on the top coat, cure it, and then put the powder on. And for me, I just couldn't get the powder to stick on. So I'm going to actually type the instructions into the description box just in case you can't be bothered watching this whole video. But I just thought I would film it anyway. And I just got a new phone holder that goes over your hands like that. And I do apologise, but it's the first time I've ever used it. So I don't even know if it's going to be in focus. I don't know if it's going to be too close or what. But I've tried my best. During the application of the powder, once I put the top coat on, I then wipe it on toilet paper or just a normal piece of paper. And the reason for that is that when you go back into the top coat, it contaminates it and it can tint it with a different colour or it can make it glittery. Somebody was asking that in the comments in my last video, so I just wanted to let you know. If you have the pen, it's perfectly fine to just go onto your next nail and then wipe it at the end. But anyway, you're going to see that in this tutorial. I just thought I would mention it just in case. If you don't want to watch the whole tutorial and you want to go straight into the description box, that's totally fine. In there you'll also find the discount code, POISONPIXIE15, and I do make a small amount of money on that. Now, I want to make it very clear that I don't use this code just to make money. I have got lots and lots of my own Sistaco powders, and I've paid for all of them myself except 3. Once my video got quite a lot of views, Sistaco was so kind to send me an applicator in 3 colours of my choice, but everything else I've paid for. So as you can see, I do my nails 2 different colours, and I'm going to be showing you that in the following tutorial. Obviously, Sistaco are always posting discount codes, and I'm going to link their shop in the description box below as well as their Facebook page. If anybody else has any other application methods that they would like to share with people, please let us know in the comments. If you want to use somebody else's code because you just don't like my face and you don't want me to make any money, that is perfectly fine. But here's the tutorial. I still have the old Sistaco lamp. I've got quite a few of these. Because I think the cable's quite short, instead of struggling, I normally just use a portable charger. So before I start, I just get my stuff ready and I put a different colour on each hand. Have an orange stick, and these are the different applicators that are available, or that were available the last time I checked. So normally you would use this one for metallics, you buff it in and get it really shiny. You can also do that with holographic glitters, and you use this side just for powders. As you can see, I haven't cleaned these, I just clean them as I go along. Also, before I do my nails, I just wipe them down with some nail polish remover and give them a buff and everything. Now, as you can see, my nails are not uniform length. I don't have model hands or anything. I'm just a normal person, just about to do my nails, so not exactly blowing your mind there. I've actually got quite a few Sistaco sets, and because most of my powders are glitter, I find that when you put the top coat over the powder, it tends to get into the bottle and it contaminates it. That's why I recommend that in between each coat, you wipe it on a piece of paper to get the glitter off. Obviously, I've marked this one to say that this is glittery, so if I'm ever using a glittery powder, I just put that over it because it doesn't really matter. But if you're using the pens, then and you're using one colour, then you can just wipe it at the end and it doesn't actually matter. But this one here I would use for powders and it's not contaminated, it's still quite clear. And this one's got glitter all the way through it. After you've used these and put them away, they can be really difficult to open back up. So this is completely stuck solid. I'm going to have to go and run this under some warm water to see if I can get it opened. Also, I don't know if it's still an issue, but with the older bottles, you used to lie these down and then when you took them out the container, they used to leak and it would completely jam it, but with the newer bottles it doesn't seem to be as bad, but I still prefer to just store them upright. Before some people use these, they like to heat them up a bit because this can be quite thick. As I mentioned, I normally put this in some warm water to loosen the lid, so by the time I'm using this it's already kind of thinned out. When you use this, you want to put on the thinnest, I can't express this enough, the thinnest layer ever. Sorry about the state of the top of my bottle, I've had this one for quite a while. So you're wanting to wipe off the majority of what's on there, and then you're just going to put on the thinnest layer that you can possibly get on. Almost as if you're putting it on the nail and then you're trying to wipe it back off with the brush. As you can see, I've got no chunks or anything. This is one of the most important, if not the most important thing. Sorry about my uneven nails, as I mentioned. I'm just a normal person doing my nails, I'm not a hand model or anything. So get right down to the bottom, make sure it doesn't touch your skin. If at any point it does touch your skin, just use an orange stick to clean it off before you cure it. On the older lamp, the button's at the back, so when you press this once it comes on for 45 seconds, and when you hold it in it comes on for a minute. Also, on all the adverts and everything that show you how to do this, they normally do this, but because my thumb doesn't go under it, I know that on the new lamp it does do that. Normally when I'm curing my nails, I'll actually just tuck these in, make a claw with my hand and do this. I do apologise if the camera's a little bit close. This is the first time I've ever used this phone holder to make a video like this, so I'll just do this. If I think that I've left any edges or anything, I'll just make my way around the nail. Now I'm going to paint the rest of my nails and then I'm going to cure the base coat for just 45 seconds. Because the thumb doesn't always get hot with the light, I just like to kind of move it about a little bit just to make sure I get right in all the sides and everything. So after the base coat, we're ready to put the top coat straight on. I forgot to mention as well, with the top coat and the base coat, don't forget to cap the nails because that'll just stop the nail polish from peeling off from the top. So because I'm using a glittery polish, I'm going to use this one, and as you can see there's glitter all the way through that, and that is even with me writing it on a piece of paper. But it doesn't bother me because most of my powders are glittery, but if you're going to be using some metallics or anything that's not just pure glitter, then you might want to either get 2 bottles or use the pen. So once again, we're just going to try and wipe as much of that off as we can. And then we're going to go in with the smallest amount possible. Almost as if you're scared to put it on your nail. Like, I'm serious, that's how little you need to put on it. Because this one's got glitter all the way through it, it's actually quite good because I can already see where I've touched on the nail. Make sure you get right in there, otherwise you'll have gaps. Obviously, if the top coat isn't on the fingernail, like if you miss any bits at all, the powder's, it's just not going to stick to it. So make sure you cap your nail. So I'm just going to do the rest of the nails and then I'll be back in a second. So now that that's done, I'm going to cure the top coat for 10 to 15 seconds. The reason that I do this is because it stops it from going too hard and hopefully the powder will be able to rub onto it properly. Now, you know what it's like when you're making a video, it's probably going to make me out to be a liar. But in this instance, I'm going to cure my nails for 10 seconds. Okay, so now I'm going to be using one of my favourite colours, if not my favourite colour actually, turquoise holographic. I've just spilt it all over the paper at the side. Very good. I thought I would add a little bit of voiceover in here Because I don't store my tubs completely flat, sometimes when I open them up, the powder is like all over the side of the tub, and it can be quite wasteful. If it's possible for you to store your tubs flat, that's absolutely perfect, and you won't have this mess. Now, I've obviously got paper down here, and I normally do this on my bed, and as you can imagine, it gets absolutely everywhere. I've spilt a little bit out on the paper over here, so I'm just going to pick it up with this sponge. We don't want to waste any. And then I normally just rub it in up the way. You see a lot of people doing it like back and forward. That's fine, it doesn't really matter. If you want it to be a more metallic-y finish, you can rub it back and forward like this so you can go round in circles. But I like to do it like this just to kind of stop it from going onto the skin as much as possible. Sometimes when you rub it back and forward, if you end up touching the skin, it can actually rub the top coat onto the skin, and then it can be a little bit messy, to be honest. It's not all as plain as simple as they like to make it out. So that's that. As you can see, there's the slightest wee bits down on this bottom bit that I've kind of missed, and that's perfectly fine. What I'm going to do is rub it into the rest of the fingers, and then I'll show you the next steps. So I've covered the rest of my fingers in the powder, and as you can see, some of the top coat, it comes down actually into the skin. So I like to try and just wipe that off as much as I can. If any small bits get onto the skin down here, like away from the nail, it's totally fine, it will wash off. I just try and get it off before I even cure the nail. So taking a close look at this, you can see that there's a couple of small bits at the very base of the nail, a couple of bits here at the edge here that I've missed with the top coat, and that's totally fine because I'm going to do 2 coats. I just thought that I would show you that, not to panic, you know, these things happen. I know that on the Sistaco adverts, it's just a case of like, rub it on and go. But I have been doing this now for way over a year, and it's still not the easiest thing ever, but I feel like the results are worth it in the end. All of these things take trial and error. I still also use normal nail polish, so it's not as if I use this every single time. So what I'm going to do is cure this for 45 seconds. So once that's cured for 45 seconds, I'm going to take the tub back, and before I put on the second coat of top coat, I'm just going to take the brush and brush off any excess powder. Sorry, let me move this into the middle a little bit. Brush off any excess powder. This will show you where you've missed on the nail. It will also reduce the amount of contamination that you put back into your top coat. So if you've got bits stuck on your finger like this, that's nowhere near the nail, that's totally fine. It is going to wash off. Now, obviously I'm not a nail professional, but the results of this are really worth it. I realise that I'm making a bit of a mess here. You'll probably do a lot better job than I will. But this video is really just to show you my timing method so that it lasts longer. So now that I've brushed it into there, I'm going to take the top coat again. I'm going to put it all over the nail, but I'm going to make sure that I'm touching these parts that I missed before. So, scrape it off as if you're scared for your life that you're going to put too much on. And really concentrate on those bits that you missed. It is possible to do 3 coats of this if you want, but who wants to sit and do 3 coats, to be honest? This time, before you dip it back in to the top coat, take a piece of toilet paper or just a piece of normal paper and wipe it on there. That might seem like a waste of top coat, but you're going to have to do this if you've got the bottle, because otherwise it's going to be completely contaminated. Now this one is contaminated as it is, but I'm just showing you that there's going to be some colour on there. As I mentioned, if you've got the pen, you can just carry on and wipe it all off at the end. So that one's done. Cap the nail again. I'm going to go once again. This time I'm going to cure this for 15 seconds again and I'll be back with you. Right, so I've just cured that one for 15 seconds and then I'm going to repeat. I'm just going to put the powder on again, and then this time it's slightly different. And I like to really put a lot of it on there. I like to really pack it on and just make sure that the whole nail's covered. If you've missed any bits at this point, then you can go back in and do a third coat later, but I normally leave it. Cap the nail as well. As you can see, I'm not being shy with this powder, and that's why I end up making a total mess, and I'm actually shaking the table as well, so I'm such a professional. Now that I've absolutely packed that glitter on there, I'm going to cure this for 1 full minute. So I've cured that for 1 minute, and then I'm just going to brush this powder back in. I love how I say I'm going to brush it back into the pot, but as you can see, half of it's missing the pot. Totally fine, I can always fold this paper up later if I want and put it back in. So, as you can see, there's a bit of a mesh around the edges of the nails there. That will wash off. Brush, brush, brush. So now I'm going to put another layer of top coat on, and this time it doesn't have to be the thinnest layer in existence. I don't recommend that you absolutely slap it on, like your life depends on it. But you can just do it like a normal top coat and make sure that you get every single bit once again. And also, this time, in between coats as well, you want to wipe it on a bit of toilet paper because it will contaminate your bottle. So, as you can see, I've missed the slightest little bit at the edge of this nail. The rest of them are all fine. So, I'm going to put on a reasonably thin layer, nothing too thin. If I feel like I need more, I can always come back. Don't forget to cap the nail. Don't forget to wipe it on a piece of tissue paper. Don't forget to use an orange stick if you get it on your skin. I'm going to go put the top coat on the rest of the nails, and I'm going to cure it for 1 minute again. Now that that's been cured for a minute, you can see it still looks kind of messy, but I will be washing my hands after this. So now I'm just going to go and repeat the same procedure with Violet Sky, and I'll be back to show you how it looks. Now I'm completely done and I've washed my hands. As you can see, there is a mess here. That's why a lot of people use the little catchers and then put it back into the tub. But I'm just going to scoop this all together and then put it into a separate tub and just make a mixed glitter. So that's it, completely finished. I realise that this seems really messy, but if you're more careful than me, it's not going to be that bad. I think that looks really good. And with this method, it really is going to last. Like, it's going to last weeks. I have got a really hands-on job, and normally this lasts me until it starts to grow out at the bottom, and I have to take it off. But this is turquoise, and this is Violet Sky. If you use this method, let me know what you think of it. So that was that. I realised that the quality wasn't amazing and it was all a bit close, but as I mentioned, it's the first time I have ever used that phone holder before, and I was actually sitting on the floor with my legs crossed because I normally do my nails on the bed. As you can imagine, the glitter gets everywhere, and when I was trying to do it, the camera was shaking. I was sitting on the floor with my legs crossed and I ended up with major pins and needles. I genuinely didn't think I'd be able to stand ever again. But this was the final result. I think that you'll agree, it looks really good. Now if you're better at doing nails than me, it's going to turn out even better. As I said in the tutorial, I also use nail polishes and I change my nails all the time. I don't use Sistaco every single time. And it lasts for so long that it's not as if you have to do it every week or even every 2 weeks. So I don't get as much practice as what I used to. But these colours are absolutely stunning. And when you actually see them with your eyes, they're even more amazing. So hopefully you liked this video and hopefully you found it helpful. If you end up using this method, please let me know in the comments, or if you would like to share your own methods also, you can share it with other people. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Bye!